Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we find out what support is available for people sleeping rough in East Yorkshire. We have our Reflections feature this week coming from Grimsby Minster, and Mike Stewart joins me on the sofa as he gets set to commemorate World War I by getting his walking boots on for charity. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Erica Barker. Now it's over to Dan Kemp for the news headlines.
Hello there, a woman has died and another person is being treated in hospital after a suspected diving accident off the Yorkshire coast. The Coast Guard was alerted by a dive boat at 2:35 p.m. on Sunday that a 60-year-old woman was unconscious. The emergency services airlifted her to Hull Royal Infirmary from Bridlington, where she was pronounced dead on arrival, according to the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. Another person is being assessed at hospital, where they have been placed into a hyperbaric unit as a precaution. Homicide Police have been showcasing the talents of one of their canine officers. PD Mia, police dog for short, has been showing us how she can detect drugs in different situations. Mia and a second dog, Bobby the Spaniel, were funded by the NHS Hull CCG and completed a 4-week training exercise with their handlers in South Yorkshire last year. And Mia is settling down into her new role.
This particular dog was bred by South Yorkshire Police, so they're bred from stock of known working breeds. They're selected by their training staff. They identify them very, very early as puppies if they are capable. Not every dog is capable of doing this job, and certainly the passive is a lot more difficult for certain dogs. A lot can't do it, they haven't got the concentration.
Dog walkers are being reminded they could be in for a £75 fine for walking their dogs on some of East Yorkshire's beaches. Until September the 30th, areas of Bridlington, North and South beaches, as well as Hornsey and Withensea, are being patrolled by dog wardens to ensure they're not walked on certain stretches. 5 people have already received fixed penalty notices in Bridlington. Residents in many of our region's smaller communities are set to benefit from some life-saving equipment. A network of defibrillators are to be installed throughout East Yorkshire, thanks to funding from the Smile Foundation and the local grant fund. Defibrillation is a common treatment for life-threatening cardiac conditions and consists of delivering therapeutic doses of electrical energy to the heart. Lund, Etton and Thorngunbold are amongst the villages to benefit. That's all from me for now. If you've got any news for us, don't hesitate to get in touch by calling 01472 31553, emailing news@estuary.tv or by searching for us on Facebook or Twitter. Bye for now.
I want to see Grimsby put on the map.
Extraordinary qualities, unmatched in anywhere else in Britain.
We need to act with one voice.
I was absolutely shocked, I'll tell you the truth.
More police officer hours spent on patrol preventing crimes from happening.
Well, joining me today is Mike Stewart, who's putting the hours in and the miles to commemorate World War I, walking the length and breadth of northern Lincolnshire. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, fine at the moment. Ask me again on Monday.
I know, it's all going on. So tell me a little bit about what it is that you're doing.
Well, this is the second commemoration walk, remembering the lads of the First World War from the local villages. Last year we covered the village of Greatcoats, Healing, Aylesbury, Ryby and Laceby, and this time we're going to be laying wreaths at the memorials of Swallow and Irby upon Humber.
And you did this last year, didn't you? And it was a great success.
We did, yes. We had a piper. It was quite unique, really, and because we were walking across a muddy field, funnily enough, from Ryby to Aylesbury. And it was quite quiet, and there was about 25 or 30 of us, and you get to thinking about, oh God, I'll be pleased when this is over, and then you suddenly realise you were getting a bit clouted up with the mud, and in the distance there was these black clouds coming over, then there was thunder, and I'm thinking, wow, this easily could be like it was. And then our piper, Gary, bless his heart, he struck up blowing his pipes as we were walking across, and it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. What I hadn't realised is I'd got a whistle, and when we'd all 5 minutes ready to move off, I blew the whistle to tell people you've got 5 minutes before you, and of course occurred to me just afterwards, like that's what the poor lads used to put up with when they were going over the top to face the machine guns and everything.
Because this is for a great cause, isn't it, Mark?
It's, well, yeah, the idea being is to raise funds for the British Legion at Laceby British Legion. It's an area I could get to, a cause which I thought was suitable for them that didn't come back.
And this is to commemorate World War One, and you are visiting the memorials on this walk, which is 10 miles, isn't it?
Yes, this was a round walk of 10 miles. Last year was 8 miles, so I thought, well, we can do a little bit more, so we'll do 10 miles. I'm not sure what we'll be doing next year, but different war memorials.
Are you going to do more?
Yes,
every year?
yeah, we thought so, to commemorate every year. So the last walk will be 2018. As the first war finished in 1918, that's when that walk will be finished then, like, you know, to remember them lads. I mean, you've got to give a stop to it eventually. So, I mean, not that they'll be forgotten, but on a walk sort of basis, like, you know, that'll do fine, like, you know.
And how many memorials are there around
Oh,
our
my
region?
word, now you're asking. I have absolutely no idea. If I can get a good few covered, or I should say if the walking group can get a good few covered, I'll be satisfied, like, you know. But how many there is, I wouldn't like to say.
And how many are you covering this time?
Just the two.
The two.
Just the two. We did 4 last time, so 2 this time. I was amazed that there was no war memorial in Hatcliffe and Balderley-Beck and Bealsby, to be honest. Relieved, hopefully they didn't lose anybody. But yeah, I was quite surprised there weren't some there. But what we will do at Hatcliffe is visit the old church, which is a wonderful old church. For people who don't know Hatcliffe, it's well worth a look round just to have a look at it. And the church in Balderley-Beck, and we'll finish off at Laceby Church. I mean, don't get the idea, oh, this is going to be a religious thing and a pilgrimage. No, it's not so much that, but it's visiting the old places in the villages. Somebody on the walk last year said what we're doing is walking across the fields where they worked, because there'd be farmhands, walking past the houses where they lived and remembering them. And I think that's a good thing.
No, definitely. How many people are involved?
Well, we got 30 last year, and I think I've got 12. 12 of my friends that I've dragged in, if we can drag anybody else along.
Everyone needs friends like that.
Absolutely right.
Everyone needs their
Yes,
friends.
absolutely.
But people can join in at any point on this walk.
Yes, by all means, yeah. I mean, we should be leaving Laceby at 9:30. That's the car park behind the pub. By 10:30, I'm estimating being in Irby for the small service there. If anybody's in Irby like to come and join us, come and join us. You'll hear the piper. At 11:30, I'm estimating being in Swallow. Again, you'll hear the piper. And grateful thanks to the Oaklands Hotel that's provided us with some food which the walkers will be having in the Swallow Village Hall.
They'll probably need it, won't they?
I would think so, yes.
10 miles.
Yeah. And then they're going to be walking off
Do you get alcohol, Mike?
Do I get?
Do you get alcohol at the end?
Well, strangely enough, the Laceby British Legion Club, they've told me, will be open when we get there. So, yes, there's a possibility.
There's a possibility.
Absolutely.
A possibility everyone needs one of them at the end.
Oh, yes. Only for the non-drivers, of course.
Of course, have to be sensible. So when it comes to these walks then, how nice is it to go on a walk around our region? Because it's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's a wonderful area for walking. I mean, it's got some hills on, but to be honest, they're not that bad. You know, just take your time, enjoy the peace, the quietness, the birds singing, like, you know, the changing scenery. I mean, even the flat parts of Lincolnshire, you've got the sky changing every day sort of thing, like, you know. And people say, oh, but what if it rains? Well, if it rains, you take your waterproofs. There's nothing better than walking in the rain because there's no other idiots out there apart from you. So, not to
And
be
coming
said
on
for
to
it.
the weather then, Mike, have you had a look at the forecast then?
No, because you can't do it like that. There's too much involved to say, oh, no, this is what we're going to do, unless it rains. And if it rains, we're not going to do it. No, you've got to do it no matter what. If it looks like rain and people want to come on the walk, bring some waterproofs. No problem, you know. I mean, we've had to organise our pipe player, our piper, bless his heart. We've had to organise getting the wreaths to be laid, and we've had to get people to come from the village to call the names of those that didn't come back. So you can't put all that on hold for the sake of, oh, it's raining. What about them poor devils 100 years ago? They didn't say, hang on, we can't shoot each other, it's raining.
Yeah, of course,
Absolutely.
of course. Well, Mike, we are going to have to stop it there, but it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you. So you're watching Estuary TV News. Coming up, the Reverend from Grimsby Minster shares with us her thoughts on tackling debt and where people in North East Lincolnshire can go for advice. And Dan Kemp will bring you the sports news. They say many of us are only one paycheck away from being homeless, only having enough money to pay the rent for 1 month at a time. We've been to a homeless centre in Hull to find out what help is available for people who find themselves struggling to put a roof over their heads. The Crossings provides temporary accommodation and support aiming to break the cycle. Dave Nunn reports.
Homelessness is something that can happen to anyone at any time for any reason. Luckily, there is support out there for people who need it, and it comes from centres like the Crossings.
The Crossings is a service for single homeless people who are age 18 plus. We're an education, training and employment centre as well as what you might call a traditional sort of homeless hostel. So we work with our partners in the local authority and other partners in terms of helping end rough sleeping and moving people into independent living. But part of the approach in the facilities we have is around offering training, education, employment opportunities. There's a saying that everyone's only so many steps away from becoming homeless, but we certainly feel like the Crossings that if people can find employment opportunities and gain employment, that moves people further away from ever having to come back into the homelessness sector.
Gary ended up homeless after the breakdown of a relationship. After some hard times, including sleeping in a park, he found help at the Crossings.
Basically, my relationship kind of fizzled out. I found myself homeless. Basically, it was a choice of accommodation or food. So the money that I had at the time basically paid for B&Bs. My money ran out, so I ended up sleeping in East Park for a night. And then obviously things went sour, which obviously was in the paper about what I did. And basically when I was released from the hospital, I had nowhere to go. It was my mum and a friend who were calling here. So I'd recently been in here, but there wasn't any space at the time. And Nita, who works here, got me in. And yeah, and just went from there.
Thanks to the help of the people at the Crossings, Gary has turned his life around. He's now head chef at the cafe on site and is now helping other people who are in a similar situation to the one he was in.
Good, excellent. I enjoy what I do. I've got a big understanding for the homeless now, obviously from being myself and then obviously seeing people that I train in here. It's just good. Like I said in the paper interview, I owe a lot to this place to basically giving me the opportunity, and we tell the shore as well now for giving me the opportunity to do what I do, and yeah, I enjoy it.
The message from the Crossings is that while homelessness is rising, its services are there for anyone who needs them.
So it can happen to anyone. The services are needed and very much required and continue to be required. Homelessness, I think Hull does its best to do its best with homelessness, but if you think nationally about homelessness, it's on the rise nationally, and Hull is the same.
I want to see Grimsby put on the map.
Extraordinary qualities, unmatched in anywhere else in Britain.
We need to act with one voice.
I was absolutely shocked, I'll tell you the truth.
More police officer hours spent on patrol preventing crimes from happening.
Now joining me on the sofa then is Dan Kemp. Hello Dan, long time no see.
Not that long. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
Good. Yeah, not bad, thank you. Shall we kick off with bus lanes in Hull again?
Bus lanes in Hull.
I think it was only a couple of weeks ago we were talking about it, so why not do it again? This is the news that from today, Monday, it's the bus lane fines are finally going to be, I suppose, valid. Because they've been the Hull City Council have been sending out warning letters for the last couple of weeks for the bus lane cameras they've put up on several streets in the town, including Beverley Road, Annaby Road and Holderness Road, I believe. And now the fines are kicking in from today. So,
because this was a big thing, wasn't it? Because they were
big.
sending out warning letters about these fines, and wasn't it something like they would have raised £35,000 or something?
I think so. Yeah, there were hundreds of pounds a day they would have raised from this. In the Hull Daily Mail, it says since the July the 14th, so a month ago, 600 motorists a day have been caught by the cameras.
That's incredible,
and that's
isn't it?
at £60 a ticket.
Yeah.
So if the viewers want to do the maths, they can.
So from today, those fines are definitely coming in.
Yes, from today the fines are coming into place.
Does it say what the fines are?
Yeah, the fines are it's £60 a ticket.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so basically, if you're travelling down the bus lane, you're not supposed to be, and the camera's going to catch you. I suppose there are issues also going around, especially down Allenby Road, where there's a hospital. So you've got ambulances going past, and people have been getting letters saying that they've been in the bus lane. They shouldn't have been, and they would have been fined.
Yeah.
Problem being that there are ambulances going down Allenby Road every couple of minutes from Hull Royal, so someone has to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And you'd hope the ambulances should have the right of way to go through and get to their emergencies.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Obviously, if people aren't going into the bus lanes because they're scared because they don't want to get a £60 fine, then in return ambulances are going to be held up.
Yeah, of course.
And it's all part of the obviously Hull City of Culture. They need to make sure that it's accessible for public transport. Probably more so than cars, because they want people to be accessing it that way.
No, definitely. What else do we have, Dan?
What else do we have? We have part of Scunthorpe Street in near Scunthorpe Town Centre. It looks like it's going to be permanently closed. This is a story from the Scunthorpe Telegraph. The Department of Transport's given notice to the public that the stopping off part of Gurnall Street is going to be shut off because they're going to create a playing field for Scunthorpe Church of England Primary School.
Oh, right, okay.
So they've obviously decided that this is an area of town that maybe isn't how it once was, and that it would be better used with the primary school next door. Right. And any objections to the plan stopping off must be made by the Department of Transport by September the 10th. Okay.
Just quickly, Dan, we've not got a lot of time left, but do you have a story about sausages?
We do have a story about sausages.
And I knew that you wanted to get your
what do you reckon? Pork with Jack Daniels or pork with vodka Red Bull?
Pork and vodka Red Bull sausages? Sounds like heaven.
John Pettit's Butchers in Grimsby on Bethlehem Street, they've done a competition on Facebook, and more than 1,500 suggestions have been made for various flavoured sausages, which they're going to start selling.
We go. We'll have to get some in, won't we? We'll test them out. It is now time then for Reflections. Today we visit Reverend Catherine Price from Grimsby Minster.
You don't have to go far in Grimsby or on any high street to find a shop selling debt. A pawnbroker or moneylender offering cash for cheques or a payday loan. The church has been active in supporting alternatives, such as the North East Lincolnshire Credit Union or the Churches Mutual, launched by the Archbishop of Canterbury earlier this year. The UK has one of the highest levels of household debt in the world, and half of UK adults say they're worried about their debts. In German, the same word that means debt also means guilt. But in the UK, debt is no longer seen as something to be avoided. Credit cards, mortgages, student loans. Increasingly, debt is an essential part of adult life. The Bible has a lot to say about money, and particularly about debt. And the biblical writers don't blame borrowers, but lenders. Because debt is not just about money, it's about power. In the ancient world, people even used to sell themselves and their families into slavery if they couldn't pay off their debts. And in this country, prison used to be not for criminals, but for debtors. Charles Dickens's parents and siblings lived in a debtor's jail. Today, many people still feel imprisoned by debt as interest builds up and spirals out of control. Debt even finds its way into the Lord's Prayer. The line that we translate, "Forgive us our trespasses," could equally be rendered, "Write off our debts." That's what we pray for, a clean balance sheet, with our past mistakes, sins, poor judgments and bad luck wiped out, and a chance for a fresh start.
Now it's over to the sport news with Dan Kemp.
Hull City goalkeeper Alan McGregor cost his side the full 3 points after the ball slipped through his hands against Wolves on Sunday. After a shaky start, the Tigers had taken the lead via a Nikita Jelavic penalty. The game went on to finish 1-1. Paddy Madden scored a goal in each half to give Scunthorpe United their first win of the new campaign. Grimsby Town dispatched Bromley 4-1. The Mariners had 2 in the first 7 minutes through Padraig Amon and Omar Bogle before Amon netted again prior to the break. Craig Clay rounded off the scoring late in the second period for Town, and North Ferriby United drew 1-1 against Solihull Moors. Tom Denton headed home for the Villagers in that one. Rugby League now, and Hull FC staged a dramatic turnaround to defeat St Helens on Friday night. The Black and Whites ran over 26 second-half points to overcome an 18-6 first-half deficit. Curtis Norton scored a hat-trick, while Tom Lynham, Joe Westerman and Jamie Shaw also scored. Across the city, and Hull Kingston Rovers also had a hat-trick to celebrate, as Josh Mantellato ran over 3 tries in their 34-12 win over Halifax in the Middle Eights. Rovers are now unbeaten in 3 games following their Challenge Cup semi-final win. And in tennis, Ticton's Kyle Edmund has moved within the world's top 100 for the first time. He's up to 99 in the latest set of rankings released by the ATP. His British counterpart Andy Murray is up to number 2 after beating Novak Djokovic in the Rogers Cup Montreal on Sunday. That's all for now. Don't forget to contact with any stories you have. You can call 01472 31553, email sports@estuary.tv or find us on Facebook or Twitter. And that's all for the sport.
That's all for this evening. If you have a news story, then visit our Facebook or Twitter pages @Estuary TV or email news@estuary.tv or give us a ring on 01472 315561. Until tomorrow, good night.
I want to see Grimsby put on the map.
Extraordinary qualities, unmatched in anywhere else in Britain.
We need to act with one voice.
I was absolutely shocked, I'll tell you the truth.
More police officer hours spent on patrol preventing crimes from happening.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tuesday mainly cloudy with a few spells of rain, but easing later and a maximum temperature of 17 degrees. Wednesday mostly dry with some sunny spells.